I am a fangirl.
Media literacy, how about that?
Because he can get shin splints stomping around like that.
What do I look like getting queerbaited by Marvel in the year 2023?
The revival of the fangirl. Fangirl Central. Hey, snap, crackle, pop, Rice Krispies.
Are you good? Hey everybody, it's been a while since we have been on the mic.
Hey. So welcome back to Fangirl Central.
I'm Amanda.
I'm Amber.
We're sisters, and being a fangirl is central to our identity. Get it?
Do you hear that?
We are here to give you a new episode. You know from the title what it's about, but we're going to get into some updates first because there's like a lot of stuff that's been going on. Like I feel like we need to catch up.
Yeah, here and there.
Together, like, you know, here and there, there's been some things that are going on.
All over the place.
I'm going to plug our Patreon one more time, just up top. We do have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/fangirlcentral. And we have extras and uncut episodes and things like that nature.
We even have a vlog up and some behind the scenes footage.
Yeah, there's a secret vlog up there from when Amber met Tom Holland in 2017.
Oh my God, Amanda. That's not what I was talking about.
What are you talking about?
I was just manifesting that I was going to edit this vlog. While we were setting up today, I was filming a vlog of some sorts because, y'all, I'm going to be honest, I'm really tired. And so I said, it's time to go into delusion mode. And so I started filming a vlog as if I was a YouTuber of some sorts back in the day.
Oh.
And now I'm all energized to do this podcast. So you know what delusion can do? It can get you to the next moment.
And I'm going to be manifesting that I'm going to vlog about the Doctor Who 60th anniversary specials because I'm not going to sit here and spoil everything for Amber because she is in the middle of watching Doctor Who. We watched an episode last night.
I fell asleep, but it's because I'm tired.
Yeah.
As I just said.
Today is November 26th. Why did I say it like
that?
I
don't know. I was
it's
like,
November 26th. And I said sick, like I was British or something. What the fuck?
I'm so sorry. We missed
What's up?
The anniversary of 1D Day.
Which was yesterday?
The 23rd.
Oh. That's also Miley Cyrus's birthday, also the literal 60th anniversary of Doctor Who.
That's a lot on that day.
Are you sure that's the day it was?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Miley Cyrus turned 31, Doctor Who turned 60, and
One
Day
Direction
turned 10 years old.
Oh my.
That was also the same day that we met 21 Pilots, but we're not going to talk about that right now.
I'm really confused at how, at that moment in time, I was like, I've been with these boys their entire lives, and it had been 3 years.
Yeah, you say that frequently.
It's crazy because I was like, I have this archive photo on my Instagram of me celebrating their 2-year anniversary on July 23rd, 2012.
What's up with the number 23?
I don't know.
July 23rd, 2010, November 23rd, 2013.
And 2020.
And now it's 2023 right now. Much more to say on that, I guess, another time. But I did watch the first Doctor Who 60th anniversary special yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I am wearing Weeping Angel's earrings. Can you even see this? Whatever. I'm showing it to the cameras. If you can see it, whatever. I'll put a picture up on the screen as well if you can't see it. But they're from Baby Honey Designs on Instagram, and they're literally my favorite earrings. I wear them every single day. They're giant Weeping Angels.
I want some new
also
earrings.
got Sonic Screwdriver earrings.
I want some new earrings.
But anyway, I have not talked to you about this because I was waiting to talk to you about it on the podcast. I watched the Doctor Who special #1 yesterday at like 11 a.m. in my bed, and when David Tennant's name came up on the screen during the theme song, I screamed and then burst into tears. Like I didn't know that it was going to happen. Like I haven't been talking about it for months. Like he had just not been in the cold open and Catherine Tate. Like, but when it said, well, you know this, in the theme song, like it literally just says the doctor's name and then the companion's name, and that's it. And right now it's David Tennant and Catherine Tate. It said David Tennant, Catherine Tate, and the new theme song is so amazing, and I love it, and I literally screamed and burst in tears. I was like overcome with joy. I was like, I cannot fucking believe that in the year 2023, the current doctor is David Tennant and the current companion is Catherine Tate. I can't, like I literally can't. Like
Let it
the
out.
special was so good. I won't say details because I don't want to give any spoilers to you, but I loved it, and I'll talk about more of my thoughts in a vlog on the Patreon. Like, I will get into depth because there were some things that I loved. I just feel, and also the fact that it's Russell T Davies is the current showrunner, who was literally like the showrunner from seasons 1 to 4. David Tennant and Russell T Davies, I think, are like the best combination. That's just my opinion. I will give more opinions on that, but I don't know if I've said this, but Stephen Moffat is my number one enemy, and I would say that to his face.
You've said that, yes.
But
along with Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry is a nasty ass bitch. Like, the way that he represents black women in his movies, I just can't even get into it right now. But I did say that also. But
should
yeah,
we keep that in? Is that dangerous?
I put it on my letterbox. I said Tyler Perry is a nasty ass bitch, and
It's
I would say
out
that to his
there.
face. He knows what he did.
He does know what he did.
He knows what he did.
Several times.
Yeah, I'm literally losing it over Doctor Who. Like, I have this little bitty Doctor Who here. I was wearing my 14th Doctor shirt while I was watching it. David Tennant's back there just chilling out. Like,
I
also,
love
like,
it. I love the revival of the fangirl. The revival of the fangirl.
I just, I can't even, say enough how much I cannot believe that we get Russell T Davies back, David Tennant back, and Catherine Tate back. Arguably, season 4 is the best season of New Who, I think.
Oh.
I think season 5 is a really good season, but I have problems with the way Amy is characterized and the way women are characterized in general during Stephen Moffat's run. So I have to say that season 4 is probably the best.
So
and Rose, I love you, girl, but season 4, I think, just kills it.
So they're calling it New Who.
It is New Who.
They're calling it that, though?
That's what it is. The revival series that came out in 2005, that's New Who. It's New Who versus Classic Who.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, if you want to hear me talk about Doctor Who with spoilers, then just, go to Patreon.
The other day, I was on TikTok, and Justin Bieber and these stomping videos, I don't know if anyone has seen them, kept coming up one after another to different music. And I still don't know what song he's stomping to.
Somebody told me what it was, but first of all, number 1, forgot the song. And number 2, I commented on the Fangirl Central account, what song is even playing in the background? And someone was like, Bet on It, Troy Bolton. And I was like
no.
Obviously,
no.
I know what Bet on It is.
What is he performing on stage?
What is the song that he is singing? What is the Justin Bieber song?
I need to know, actually.
I think it's Anyone. That might not be
okay.
That might not sound right. Does
well,
that sound right?
I can't remember how. I'm hearing Demi Lovato's Anyone.
Me too. That's
and
why
so
I said,
can't
is that
hear
right?
his other one. But is that what it's called? Anyone? He has an Anyone too?
I don't know.
Or is it the one where the baby is in his video?
That doesn't sound right. It's You Are the Only One I'll Ever Love.
Oh, you.
You're the only good I've ever done.
How is it called?
Yeah, if it's not you, it's
not
anyone.
Oh, okay.
It's called Anyone.
Okay.
That's apparently what he was stomping to.
Well, I want
But
him
it's
to be careful because he can get shin splints stomping around like that. He is stomping really hard and then jumping and turning around. I'm like, what is this new movement?
I can't lie. I've watched a lot of videos of him stomping to different videos. It makes me want to do the dance with him. It does. I don't know what that move is. It's so ridiculous, but it does bring me to try to get up and dance.
I tried to do the swinging thing just to imitate him, and I'm like, what is he doing with his arms?
All he's doing is he's just emphatically being I'm turning. I just want to do it. It just looks really smooth, and it's just what is he doing? You know what I mean?
I don't know who it reminds me of, but it just feels familiar to me. I'm just like, you are being a goof.
He is a goof. Since when is he touring? I didn't know that he was touring. I was like, oh, Justin Bieber's retired.
Those can't be recent.
I'm pretty sure they are.
What's he up to?
Because he's doing it in many different, it's new.
I have
it's a new thing that people.
No idea what he's up to.
I don't know.
I don't know what he's doing, but I hope he's okay. I love him.
We just like the stomping. Well, I'll talk about for myself. I like the stomping.
I like the stomping too. I was sitting on my phone
I
dying
thought it
laughing.
Was hilarious.
I'm sure
I've never seen anything funnier.
I couldn't stop laughing. But I'm sure if I was at a concert now after seeing them all this frequently, and I saw him live performing, and he started going to that song, I'm sure I would shriek.
I would start
till
stomping
I
with
went blind.
him. I would literally start stomping with him.
Justin!
You can't tell me that people are like Justin Bieber went in 2012 and it's him like doing very complex dance moves, and then it's like Justin Bieber in 2023 and he's doing that, and I'm like, okay,
let him live.
let him live. Let him live.
This is how he wants to dance now.
That's how he wants to do it.
He is feeling the music. Oh God, I hope he's okay. I love him to death.
It's giving I don't give a fuck. Like the stomping is giving I don't give a fuck. But
sweet
like
Justin Drew.
literally I can't. I literally can't.
That's one of those things. He's one of those people where I found out what I knew about him, like that are just fact, like his middle name, the time he was born, and his birthday, like random things that I will just always know about him, even if I don't keep tabs on him. Like I don't know what he's up to now, but I know.
You know, Justin
know.
Drew Bieber.
Justin Drew Bieber.
That's like fangirl leftovers. It's like, yeah, I have all these random facts about Sebastian Stan in my mind, but do I need them? No. Do I act on them? No. Do
but
I
got him.
Continue to learn more? No.
No. Yeah. Do I continue to learn more? No. But I know what I know.
But I know what I know.
And we both know what we know.
I kind of wanted to talk about Jim from Our Flag Means Death.
Mm-hmm.
Like we didn't talk about anybody other than Edward very much when we were talking about Our Flag Means Death, but that's because Edward's my favorite character.
Before you get into Jim, I stumbled across Taika Waititi at the Grove. When he was walking out of his premiere, I stumbled across him.
He was having the Next Goal Wins premiere at the Grove of all fucking places.
Yes, and I was working at the Grove every day that week for an event that my job was throwing, and I stumbled across him quite literally as he was walking out of the theater.
No, like Amber was there. She works in talent and events, and so like she literally was there on official business, like
official business.
Official
I was
business,
being professional. This is what a professional fangirl is. It's a woman who is trying to handle her own shit, and Taika Waititi walks out of the AMC at the same time. Like she's walking to her car.
Amber texted me, I'm looking at Taika. And I was like, what are you fucking talking about?
I was like, everyone shut up. Everyone shut up.
I saw him at the Black Panther premiere in 2016. When did Black Panther come out? Was it 2018? I'm always like, was it 2016 or 18? Like, I literally can't remember. Right, because Civil War came out in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him at the Black Panther premiere, and I feel like it's, like, so weird that you saw him at a different premiere, and it was his premiere.
Yeah,
like, the 2 times that both of us have seen him separately were at premiere.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and what color suit was he wearing at yours?
Blue.
Mine was maroon.
Yeah, he looked really good. I remember being startled about how much better he looks in person, because I already think that he's hot.
He was smiling and standing real tall, and I was like, I gotta go.
I gotta go. I was glad, because I was gonna go. Remember, I was like, oh, I'll come to that event. It was in my calendar.
Oh, but that wasn't even the night.
I thought it was on Wednesday.
No, it was on the Tuesday. I was there like prep for the event. Like I was there just late night trying to prep for the event, like making gift bags and things. And then by the time we wrapped up, my coworkers were like, maybe we like, because we were like, there's no way this premiere is happening tonight. And they were like, let's just take the long way to the garage. We did, and when we were walking up, he was there.
Just hugging and kissing people outside.
Yeah, and then Rita Ora was there. And I was like, all right.
Like, respectfully, all right. That is so fucking random.
Yes, it was. We also saw a member of Five Things of Summer at a bar recently, and it was the most random situation of our lives. Just adding to the sightings.
List of random occurrences. Like, we've literally never, ever in our lives tried to meet 5 Seconds of Summer. And I just think that's ironic.
We never, ever have.
Because we've met them multiple times on accident, and we die-hard tried to meet One Direction, and it just didn't work.
Never ever happened.
Never worked.
And I think, honestly, what I think that is honestly the universe protecting us, because say we did meet One Direction on one of the attempts. I don't think that would have gone smoothly.
No, I think
it would have only been a cringy moment to me in my time now. So,
and it would have been super depressing. Like, as soon as they walked away, it would have been like post concert depression, like, but
times
to
1,000
degree.
Like, it would just be like, come back,
literally,
come back.
No, it's actually very good.
No.
It's
good that we've never seen them. I like to live on a different planet than them, than Zac Efron, the Jonas Brothers even.
Yeah,
I don't need to see Justin Bieber. Don't need to see him out.
I mean, these people, they're in my childhood brain, so like they don't exist.
Yeah,
you
they're
know,
like-
it's almost like
They're like animatronics.
like because I.
I don't need to see them off the stage. Thanks.
Oh God, it would be like a Five Nights at Freddy jump scare if I
I'd be
saw Zac
right.
Efron
It would be like,
out.
sorry,
I'd be like, I thought you only existed in High School Musical.
in the box.
In the box. You only exist in the box.
Get back in the box.
Get back in the box.
I'm trying to order coffee. What are you doing here?
That is so correct because I was so scared whenever like the mascot version of Chucky Cheese would be out about on the floor. I'd be like, wait, he's free range.
Right,
Like
he's
wait,
not
he
on
can
the
go
stage.
he can go wherever he wants, and I would immediately start hiding in the little tunnels.
Oh my God. Actually, yes. Amanda and I used to run from this thing. And there was one time when we hopped in one of those cars and put the quarter in so fast as if it would get us away from him faster.
Oh.
And then he walked down our aisle. And so we were just like in the car and just like,
I have this memory. I remember this memory. Literally, I've been so scared of mascots since the day I was born. Literally, I had my 4th birthday party at Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A was literally like on every single corner in the South, and you know they don't like gay people, but you know I'm sorry, their chicken is amazing. But I had my 4th birthday party at Chick-fil-A, and I'm gay, so I can say that. And they were singing "Happy Birthday" to me, and this is on video. The cow comes out, and everyone's like, Mandy, look, it's the cow. Look, it's the cow. And I literally just like stare straight ahead at my food and like silently am eating. I will not look at the cow.
it's
like,
not there if I don't see it.
Absolutely will not look. It's not there. If I don't look at it or acknowledge it, it's not there. And it's like getting up in my face, waving at me. And I'm just like completely fucking ignoring this cow.
Right.
Like, and they're like, Amanda, like, look at the and until it walked away.
Like, fuck that cow.
I never liked mascots.
You were 3?
I was my 4th birthday.
So I was around.
Yeah, you were 2, but you know, you weren't.
I wonder
mean, you
what
were
I was
probably just,
doing.
like, running around. Like, you probably like looking at the cow.
I wonder what I was doing.
I don't know, but
That's
it was
crazy.
it was a jump scare to me that you met Taika.
Oh!
Or you didn't,
Sorry, I forgot that you were gonna. I didn't know you were gonna pull the conversation back
you
over
didn't
there.
meet him, but you like waved at him and he just looked.
I just mouthed like, "Can I have a selfie?" to him, but like in hindsight, I probably didn't mouth it clearly because he just like stared at me and then turned away because he probably was like, "What the fuck?"
I don't even know what I would have done if I had been there. I feel like I would have had to be like, "Congrats on Our Flag Means Death."
I wanted to say something. Our flag means death related, but I was just kind of like really tired. I had all of these bags on me from work, and I was like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
I don't have the mental capacity to even form a real sentence. That's why I was like,
And it's honestly, it's okay.
it's fine, whatever. He probably won't remember me.
We'll have the meeting with him when we have it.
Yeah, he ain't gonna remember that.
No, maybe. I don't know.
Goofy.
You have purple hair.
Well, he's gonna be like, you're that
Goofy
crazy
purple girl."
person at the Grove.
But anyways, talking about Our Flag Means Death, I was rewatching season 2. I rewatched season 1 through 2, and
So all of them.
yeah, I watched.
I was watching season 2. I rewatched seasons 1 through 2. So I rewatched the whole show.
Back to back. What I meant was like I rewatched it all, including season 1. So I rewatched season 2 with the framework of season 1 in mind. And I just want to reiterate because I feel like we recorded that episode right after we watched the finale. But I want to reiterate that I'm like sick of the fandom. Like just like there's a part of the fandom that's like hating on season 2. Because they're like, the pacing is off and they didn't include enough about these characters and I can't believe they killed off and I can't believe blah, blah, blah. Like they're just like ragging on it and like sending like really mean notes to the writers because they like don't agree with who died and stuff and whatever. But when I rewatched season 1, and yes, they did have budget cuts. They cut the budget by 40% the second season. So like they had fewer episodes, they had 2 fewer episodes, and like the budget was cut. Just and like you can kind of tell like the
C'est la vie though.
But they made such a good season with those
that's
budget
life.
cuts. And I just want to reiterate like fandom can get so toxic with like, I don't know, just like berating the writers. It's like, would you rather it be Sherlock where they just fucking made fun of the fandom for even like liking / fanfic and like shipping the 2 guys, making fun of queer people in the show itself? Like, I don't know.
Is that really how it is?
That's literally how it is. Like
Oh,
literally
God.
like
I've never watched like
Stephen
I've seen,
Moffat.
like, one episode.
Stephen Moffat created Sherlock also.
Oh,
he's my enemy number one.
Your eyes got really like serious
and
then.
I'm so serious.
You said
I said
Stephen Moffat.
I said Stephen Moffat. I said Stephen Moffat created Sherlock.
Oh my God.
And menace. Like literally, like, so would you rather be that? Would you rather be, sorry, Loki, where they're still queer baiting? I saw a tweet the other day that was like, ain't no way I'm gonna get queer baited by Marvel. Like how are
not
you,
again?
What do I look like getting queer baited by Marvel in the year 2023?
Right. Never again.
I'm not watching Loki. I'm sorry. I watched the first season and I really enjoyed it because it reminded me of Doctor Who, but I am not watching it.
I have to confess that me saying never again was really just like as a listener, because I never was queer baited by Marvel. I wasn't really into those ships when watching Marvel. I was there for Spider-Man and the hope that Spider-Man was coming soon.
The big one for me is Steve and Bucky. Like I remember
ship
watching anybody else. I mean, I did read a lot of Spider-Man Deadpool, but like that wasn't a thing in the movies, so it's not like I was
right.
I mean, I guess they did kind of queer bait us in the comics, but that's a whole nother story.
That's a different story. But I remember watching Steve and Bucky and knowing how you were shipping them.
Yeah.
And I was like, I see it. But I was never going into those viewings with that. I was like, when are they gonna fix the partnership so that we can
have Spider-Man
do
in here.
When
When can Spider-Man get in
and
here?
I remember when I first heard, sorry to like go over here, but like I remember when they first announced Spider-Man and Sony like being able to work something out. I was like, what?
I remember you were like, no.
I was like,
I feel
this
like you
is
were
a lie.
I think yes, you were in denial. Like I remember we were
fully
when we talked about it. You were like, but no.
I was like, no.
It's like, but that doesn't mean that you were like, that doesn't mean that Spider-Man will be in the Avengers though. And I said, yes.
You were like, this is what it means.
That's what it means.
And I was like,
that's exactly what it means.
And I was like, no. And then I saw it and I was like, well, where did we find this one?
I think he's the best part of Civil War. I think he and Black Panther are the best parts of Civil War.
Definitely, 100%. That's the whole point of the movie, is to introduce those two. Like, I was like, where do we find him? And where do we find him? And we're getting full movies of both of them soon.
Yeah, that's
when I zoomed on it.
Marvel's,
that's when I zoomed on it.
That was Marvel's last win, and they have not won since. And I'll stand on that.
I agree.
I will even say that while I was watching Winter Soldier, I wasn't even like begging Marvel to give in to making Steve and Bucky canon. I was just kind of like using it as like
material for
fan fiction.
Yes.
Like literally material for like backstory for the fan fictions I was reading.
That's just how you approach everything back then, actually.
That's literally how I approach everything. And honestly, I prefer the Marvel treatment over the Sherlock treatment because Marvel didn't even address it at all. Like none of the Marvel executives, nobody that worked on it would even like answer questions about it. They never mentioned it. But the BBC Sherlock cast and crew would just make fun of it. And they made fun of it in the show. And interviewers still do this. Like I see clips of like interviewers asking Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson about Lokius, their ship name. And
what is Owen Wilson's name in there?
Mobius? I don't know his name. I'm going to call him Owen Wilson.
Okay.
People ship Loki and Owen Wilson together. And whenever they
I'm picturing his character in the internship in Loki. Or Jedediah.
Okay, whenever they ask them, the interviewer's like, so there's people online that they don't want Loki and Sylvie together. They want Loki and Owen Wilson together. And they have you heard of Lokius? And Tom Hiddleston's like, oh yeah. You know, I mean, they have a really special relationship. And it's like they're like dancing around it. And I will say Tom Hiddleston's been respectful about it. But the interviewers, I'm like, get these fucking fanboy interviewers out.
Yeah.
Get them fucking miles and miles and miles and miles and miles away from me. Especially in the Marvel fandom. Like the Marvel fandom is split between like literally the fucking worst fanboys of all time, sexist, racist, homophobic, literally fucking stupid. And then the other half is like the gayest people you'll ever meet. And like they like Marvel for completely different reasons. And like I am like at this point I don't like Marvel because of how good it is. I'm not I'm telling you that. But anyway,
they need to sit down, take a break, really pull back for a second, and start thinking about the content they're releasing because they're doing way too much at once. And I am not keeping up. And I don't care that I'm not keeping up.
I think they're slowing down because they're realizing that.
That don't nobody want to keep up no more. Quit. Take a break.
Don't nobody want to keep up no more, and it's bad. And like they've lost the plot.
They've lost the universe. They've lost the plot.
It's literally just like late stage capitalism. The studios are putting so much money into it to put out as much as possible in as little time as possible.
And it's not of quality.
It's quantity over quality. Like the shit looks awful. Like the VFX look terrible. They underpay their VFX people. They underpay all these people. They get like 45 different writers and directors to make every single thing. Do you know that until recently, like literally until recently, the way they were running their television shows was like, let's just shoot it and then figure it out in post. Like, let's just shoot it and then figure out what's wrong with the story in post. They weren't doing like writers' rooms. It's like, do you know how to make television? Like, there's a lot of people that know how to make television.
Add some scenes if you figure something. Whatever.
Shit's
Listen,
going down.
That's not our problem.
And that was not my original point.
No.
I think we did need to. I will never miss an opportunity to just like fucking slam dunk on Marvel because
honestly, because they're too everywhere. I say this as I have my Spider-Man blanket on here, keeping me warm today. Everyone,
you know why that's a good point? Is like I still love certain Marvel movies that I grew up with. I still love them, even though their varying levels of military propaganda have been approved by the American military. Like, I know that they're military propaganda, all of them, and I hate that about it, and I probably wouldn't blindly love it if I watched it right now.
Right.
But there's certain nostalgic values to those movies and that cast and ensemble that will always hold a special place in my heart, but I'm not going to go, rewatch Winter Soldier 12 times a day anymore.
No, and that's also why it's best to watch the DVDs you have and not the streaming services.
I love Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man as a concept. Like, Spider-Man, I feel like, can be whoever you want Spider-Man to be. And I feel like that's why Spider-Verse did so well and is doing so well. I prefer Spider-Verse as a movie to, like, whatever the fuck Marvel
I will sit and cry at
Studios is
Spider-Verse
doing.
for the rest of my life. I love that movie so much.
But like, what I was originally saying
We were talking about
was-
Jim. We were
I was
talking
saying- I
about
was talking about
Jim.
Our Flag Means Death. I was like, I'm like kind of sick.
How did we get here?
I'm kind of sick of the Our Flag Means Death and Good Omens fandoms on Twitter, at least, and that's attributing to my like fangirl fatigue, which we'll talk more about later. And I also feel like the way I was just like ranting about Marvel, it like attributes to my fandom fatigue. It's like there's all these toxic things going on that it's hard to remember what I like about it. But anyway,
Yes.
I'll say more on
You
that
gotta slap
later.
yourself on the wrist for like everything you grew up with now.
Yeah.
Because you're like, your eyes are open. Ignorance is bliss.
It's just like difficult to navigate fandom space with nuance because nobody does it. I'm wanting our little pocket of listeners and among us ourselves to like create
an analytical look at it.
and emotional too.
Yes. What do you like about it and what do you condemn about it? Because there are things that are wrong with it.
I feel like the outside view of a fangirl is like somebody that loves something no matter what, has no problems with it. It's like either you absolutely adore it and have no critiques or you hate something. And it's like that's not the reality of liking something.
Yeah.
Like as an adult in the world who understands the world and has their own experiences, that's not really the reality of anything, of how you like anything. So the way that we fangirl is like, I will shout at this concert. I don't know / approve of every single thing this artist does in their life because they're a human being.
Yeah. That and also like watching movies, it's like you can watch the most fantastical thing and apply it to what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
And do that.
Like,
and think about it.
I rewatched X-Men First Class and it was literally the most sexist thing I've ever seen. Like every single female character got naked at some point, like took her clothes off at some point. Every single one, even the CIA.
And that's why it's so ingrained, and like that's why sometimes we don't notice it all the time because we did grow up with it.
How
that
every movie was.
That's the norm. Like we grew up thinking that was correct.
Yeah.
And that was normal.
Like, and it was framed in a way of like female empowerment. Like it was like, oh, like she's so hot and she knows it and she's taking her clothes off. Like she's using her body to get the men.
Her like tree trunks.
To trick the men. She's a femme fatale. Like, and we were fed that and all movies and all action movies were like that. And so it was like nothing different. And also at the same time, Jennifer Lawrence was in the Hunger Games at the same time, which I feel like was a pretty empowering role. Looking back on those movies, they didn't really objectify her in the same way that they did in X-Men First Class. But I feel like since they came out around the same time, I was like, yeah, she's like cool and she's powerful.
Oh, yeah. So
in
it was a
both.
blend, yeah.
Like it was just kind, and I was like, oh, no. They don't treat her character well in this movie at all. Like, and also it's directed by like, he has allegations of like pedophilia and like grooming young men, all these problems. But X-Men First Class was one of my favorite movies in high school. And so I rewatched it with Esty recently, and we were both like, fuck? Like, what? It's super gay.
Really?
It's super gay. Like, and I knew that back then. It's super, super gay. Like, there's a whole subplot of Eddie Gathegi and Lucas Till like having a relationship.
Lucas Till is in this?
Exactly. Lucas Till, Zoe Kravitz, Eddie Gathegi, like the son from Get Out, the redheaded son from Get Out, Jennifer Lawrence, Michael Fassbender,
Evan Peters.
No, he's not in that one.
Okay. Hugh Jackman.
He does. He makes a cameo. Hugh Jackman is in every single X-Men movie, at least in a cameo. And we all cheered. And it was my first X-Men movie I ever saw, and I had no idea what was going on except when I saw Wolverine. I said, "That's Wolverine. I know that." But
that's funny. That's
anyway,
how I am a lot of the time.
It's just who did I miss? James McAvoy, the main character. I forgot his name. I always forget his name. Sorry, James.
I just watched him.
Sorry, Mr. Tumnus.
Oh my god. I just watched him something. I always forget he's that.
But anyway, all of this to say is like you can have complex thoughts about media. Media literacy. How about that?
Right. You know what? And those are the best college classes.
And welcome to our TED Talk.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Anyway, I just want to touch on Jim from Our Flag Means Death.
Let's get
because
into it.
I was rewatching it. And not only do I think that it's a really good arc, season 1 through 2, when I watched season 1, I do think that watching season 1 helped me realize I was non-binary subconsciously, because it always happens this way. You know, it's like, oh, why do I relate to this character? I just really love them. Like, I felt that way about, like, gay characters before I realized I was gay. And then with Jim, I was like, ugh. Isn't that just so great that the non-binary people can have representation? Like, such good representation. I love this. And, like, good for the non-binary people.
Right.
And I really am such an ally to non-binary people. And then I was like, slowly, I started realizing that I was like non-binary. And I relate way too much. I haven't seen very many, like, AFAB non-binary people in things that have full characters and full arcs.
Once ever.
I can't even recall. Like, I actually can't recall a non-binary character having such a full backstory and full arc that's not just like, oh, they're non-binary and their pronouns are they, them.
Yeah,
Just so you know.
That's not.
Just so you know.
Right.
Their pronouns are they, them.
That's
and that's it.
That's it. I can't think of anything at all.
And it was so seamless the way that they like came out as non-binary. And like, also I feel this way about the Doctor Who special. Donna has a trans daughter and they do it so well, in my opinion. I think I have a little gripe with like one moment at the end that does not really have anything to do with her, but like her character is really good. She's on what's that gay show?
Our Flag Means
Heartstopper. She's on Heartstopper. There's the non-binary thing, but then in season 2, I know a lot of people hated that they like, in air quotes, broke up Jim and Oluwande with their different love interests. But I feel like from the actor's perspective, because Vico Ortiz is polyamorous, I feel like from the actor's perspective, they're polyamorous. And we just didn't get enough screen time to see that they were.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was picking up.
Exactly. That's what I was picking up, too.
I was like, well...
And I like the poly representation. I also think it's really cool as also a bisexual person. Like, as coming into, like, being non-binary but also as bisexual. I really like how Jim was with Oluwande and then kissed Archie. And it's like neither of those relationships are binary. The one with Oluwande is not straight, and the one with Archie is not lesbian. It's just like Jim is a person, and they like other people.
Yes.
And it just occurred to me that I had never seen anything like that in my life on TV before.
I thought that was very interesting too. When they were having like all of their like cuddly moments, I was like, well, this is interesting because you identify how you identify what is correct. And you love who you love. Yeah. And you nobody can just say this is how you have to present to be able to say that you define yourself as this, as another thing. Like, it's like, well, you actually don't know much.
No.
So you don't know much about what's going on in my head or this person that I like's head. So I don't really know why I feel the need to defend you on this.
Right. And
to defend my identity on this.
And nobody's asking them to. Like,
Right.
nobody's asking Jim who they, like, nobody even asked anybody. Like,
yeah, how they identify. On that boat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, on that boat.
On that boat?
Nobody asked Steed. Like,
just B.
For all we know, Steed could be bisexual. We don't know. We don't know who Ed likes. Like, we don't know. And it honestly doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, there's no reason to like force anybody into a box.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is super cool. So I just wanted to touch on that before we get into like
more stuff,
more and more things.
I agree with that. And I love that.
I don't know. I just love the world of Our Flag Means Death, and I don't know. I hesitate to be like, oh, I want like more seasons because I know it's just a 3-season arc. But then it's like spin-off, and then it's like, oh, when is too much? When is enough?
I want to say that watching. Sorry, I cut you off, but it's kind of the same conversation. Not at all, but I want to say that watching Adventure Time with you last night was very interesting. I haven't like watched it in a while, and I was realizing more of the parody aspect than I feel like I did the first time I watched it. Like, I was kind of like, this is funny. Oh, I get it. Parody. Oh. But like when the jokes were happening, or like when certain lines were said, I was catching them more than whenever I've been rewatching them.
Yeah.
And it was really funny.
That show's straight up satire.
Yeah, now I really gotta like fully rewatch it again.
It does remind me of a more wholesome Invader Zim.
And I gotta watch Invader Zim.
When we started watching, Amber was like, just so you know, this show is really weird. And then she was like, and then I remember that you watched Invader Zim, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Like,
I was like, the opening scene of like the first episode is the juice coming out of the dead candy people.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, I wonder if Amanda's gonna make me turn this off. And then while I was having that thought, I was like, her favorite show is Invader Zim.
As soon as I saw that, like that image itself, I was like, oh, I'm gonna like this show.
Like, that's crazy.
Like, I was like, oh, I like it.
Because I don't know. I don't know. Like, that's crazy to me because you grew up liking Invader Zim, but I always thought that you were opposed to things like that. Even as you were an Invader Zim fan, because I never really like watched it with that perspective. But now I'm understanding your taste more.
I do. Yeah. I feel like it's like the fine line between like too gross just for like shock value.
And I don't even like that.
I don't like that. Yeah. I don't like shock value. I don't like anything for shock value. Like nudity for shock value.
Like, have a point
like violence for shock value. Like, and everything needs to just to have a story use, you know?
Yes.
Like, I don't want to be shocked. I want to be delighted. I love being surprised and I love being delighted, but like, I don't need to be like just shocked with like the worst thing in the world. I don't like when it's, what is it? Like, excessive.
Yeah. Just like I don't just doing it just because you got carried away and you're having fun with it.
I don't like gross out humor.
No.
Like, I don't like when you're trying to gross me out because I will get grossed out. I have a squeamish tendency.
Yeah.
But I do like weird, bizarre imagery.
And that's all you got in Adventure Time.
That I can't look away from.
Adventure Time is crazy.
Why I like Tim Burton, why I like Invader Zim. I love Adventure Time. And I think you should, because you like Adventure Time, I think you should watch Over the Garden Wall, which Elijah Wood is the main character, and he plays a 12-year-old with a little brother, and they get lost in the woods on Halloween night. And it's like, literally,
will I cry?
It's so, you will. Oh. It's so Adventure Time coded. And also, like, the brother relationship, I think you will cry. They remind me a lot of us. Amber.
Okay, well, sure, I'll watch it.
There's a little bird, like
my little bird.
There's like all these really, really like fantastical, like Halloween-y stuff, but you could watch it over the holidays.
That's cute. Okay, maybe we will. I want to talk about this quickly, just for the, because this is a catch-up episode, y'all. I guess this will be like a month late, but we're recording this in November, as you know, and we watched Love Island Games.
Yeah.
Because Love Island Games, the characters are real people. And if we go in on someone, we'll be going in on someone who is real. And that is against our philosophy in certain ways. But know that we have very, very deep opinions about all of the things that happened on that show. We love the show. I personally love the idea of Love Island Games because it brings back all of your favorite Islanders from like different years. Like maybe you haven't seen them in like 3 years and now they're acting like mature in the villa. It's very interesting. I loved it because Love Island It's one of those reality series that is so much like a social experiment that it's like, this is interesting to watch how people can grow.
Yeah.
Just genuinely from a empathetic aspect.
Yeah, because of age and also having done it before. Also, it's like the most multicultural Love Island I've ever seen. At one point, there was a black person in every single couple. And like, you cannot say that for
any season ever,
especially the UK. The UK is so whitewashed, and like black people come in and they don't get main storylines and they don't get anyone coming into the villa for them genuinely. They always get left for some other white person, or they get someone pretending that they are into them so that they can stay in the villa. I just think that that's fucked up, and England has a race problem that they are not addressing.
Yes, they do. And who has a race problem as well? Australia, because even though they only have like 5 seasons, they have very little people of color in that show.
And obviously there's racism in America, but like the black people in America, I feel like
ride for the black people and are more aware of the racism they might encounter in dating.
Like I feel like the ones in the England don't even like want to mention it.
Well, for some reason, sometimes they're just like, I don't know what it is, but it seems like there's something missing. And I'm like, you're black.
Yeah.
You're black.
Like, but I don't know what it is, but no one's come in for me.
You're black.
You're black.
But and like, sorry for the harshness, but like also
don't act like these white people coming in acting
in
like
America,
tall, dark, and handsome
right,
is black.
Think they're talking about a black man. And also in America, there are black girls who are also like, there have been the circumstance where they're like, I don't get it, because their preference is white guy. And they're like, I don't get why it's not working out for me. And it's the same reason. But there are also girls who are like, hinting at, I know why it's not working out for me. I'm noticing it and I know why.
Yeah, like don't.
And so they just are like, I'm just gonna stay in the villa and have a good time. I'm not gonna give him everything.
The whole conversation asking people what your type is inherently racist, because the white people only say blonde or brunette. They only say blonde or brunette. That's all they say. It's like, I go for blondes, I go for dark hair and dark features, and they never mean black people. I learned this lesson at 11 years old. I learned it from middle school when all the white boys I had crushes on like did not want to get with me at all, and they pushed me towards the black boys in my grade that I didn't know and also did not like me because they preferred white girls.
It's a matching game.
Like, it was like, as a black girl in America, like kind of nobody is writing for you, so like you have to generate it yourself, which is why Black Girl Magic came about, and like why I feel like I am the most confident I've ever been, because I learned that pining after people that were racist was a waste of my time. And so I'm not even like, my standards are so high, like I don't even
bat an eye.
I don't
it
even
doesn't, you don't flinch.
It's like I used to this is a very interesting conversation, because this is real. Like, I used to desperately want white boys to like me. Like, it was the only thing I cared. It was like one of the only things I cared about. It was like, my value was like whether or not white men thought that I was desirable, which is why in a couple episodes ago, I lost my mind that David Tennant kissed a black woman, because I knew that me in high school would have been like,
so it's possible.
And David Tennant, like, it would have made me like him more. Like, it would have made me think I had a chance more. And it's not even chance. Like, David Tennant's married. Like,
it's just like a chance of the idea that a white guy could like someone that resembles you, which is like the whole thing of representation.
Right.
But it's so toxic, because that is how it is. Like, if you go on Tumblr, there's like a hashtag BWWM link where they have all of these TV representations of like mixed couples and interracial couples, which is great and beautiful. And yes, everyone can be in a couple. But it became to be a thing for me as well, where I was like, I need to be in a couple with a white man to feel value in the world.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly. That's
horrific.
That's fucked up.
That is horrific.
We went to a all-girls, all-white school in Memphis, Tennessee. I went there for 13 years. Amber went there for 15 years. That's what we were surrounded by. That's what we were seeing. And like,
that was the norm. That was what we knew to be the norm.
It didn't start shaking for me until 2013, when like Tumblr feminism and like intersection. I learned what intersectionality meant, and then like it's been a slow process of the last 10 years of me like breaking out of that thought process and like getting out of the grip of like pleasing white men that everybody is in, including white men. Including white men. The only thing anyone wants to do is please a white man and be desirable by a white man, including white men, including straight white men.
Yes.
So it's like,
and I want to say also, on top of it being like I want to be desired by a white man or whatever, there was also like, as a stubborn human being, if I saw that everybody wanted me to go with the only black person because it was the only black person, that had me viscerally reacting like, well then no.
Yeah.
And that's not fair. That then it just turned into like an anti-black thing for myself.
Right.
Like on top of the internalized racism that I already had because of like the conditions of what I was growing up in, I was also trying to prove everybody wrong that like I had to be with a black person.
Yeah.
Which is just
Right.
another negative point on me.
Exactly. Like, because
And so now I'm like,
it was just all fucked up. It was like internalized racism, like I'm ashamed of being black and I won't even say that to myself, and therefore don't.
And I'm like, if I end up with a man, I feel like he has to be black.
And therefore
like I really don't, I can't picture myself with a man if he's not black.
I right now don't even know if I can picture myself with like a cis man.
Right. I don't know what I picture myself with at the moment
But
at all.
All I know is that I am attracted to people that are just as like expansive about gender as I do. Like have just as much of an expansive idea of gender as I do. Because I'm usually attracted to people that like are comfortable with masculinity, femininity, and everything in between, which is mostly non-binary people and mostly trans people, because just like the complex thought about gender is something that I think is attractive.
Me too. I just feel like I can't be constrained mentally with the spectrum of gender anymore.
Right.
Because it is so damaging. I've already gone inside of myself and found the bubble in which I have been holding myself in, and I can't really be in spaces where I have to go back to that bubble. I have to be talking to people who get it.
I can't be romantically involved with somebody who like thinks that there are essential traits to a gender.
Yeah.
Like gender essentialism. Like I can't, because
Yeah.
I don't have time to explain it.
I also sorry, okay, this is more about race. One of the earliest memories of feeling othered is when we were all doing self-portraits and everybody in my class had a yellow crayon and I had a brown. And it was just like yellow girls everywhere and then me and then yellow. And I just remember being like, why? And it goes both ways of feeling like, why do I stand out negative, but also like, why do I stand out positive? Like, I feel like I've always just stood out a little bit. So I'm like, it's just the norm to me.
Right. Like, we are different. Like, the only constant in my life is that I'm different from everybody around me.
Negative or positive.
Yeah. And so it can be at the same time jarring and cathartic to be around people that are similar to me. Like, I want to shout out CUTIES, which is a organization in LA. They're a black-owned queer organization in LA that throws events and stuff.
Ooh.
And I've gone to a dance night that they threw, and which I loved, but you know, like I feel like it's hard to connect with people at like the club. But then I went to a poetry reading, and everybody on the lineup was black, and most of the people on the lineup were like non-binary or genderqueer in some way, and I literally like was vibrating. Like I felt like my skin vibrating, and like I was crying at some poems because of like how they were making me feel, but I was also just crying at sometimes with like the energy that was going on. Like it felt like church. Like it was like a bunch of black queer genderqueer people in the audience, and we were all going like and like cackling and snapping and crying and just audibly responding, and I was like, this is so black and queer and genderqueer, and I feel like crazy.
I want to go.
That I've not felt this level of like true
unification,
unity, like
unification,
literal unity, because it's like
UNITY.
The only thing I'm used to is standing out apart from my peers for some reason, and it's usually to do with my race, my gender, or my sexuality, and in this space I was not different in any of those ways, and so it was like I was not used to it, and I was so thankful for it. So just shout out CUTIES LA on Instagram. They're amazing.
Let's get into something, because we've been talking about fangirl fatigue in a roundabout way the whole episode.
Yeah.
We've been talking about, you know, liking things that are problematic a little bit.
Toxicity in fandom.
Realizing that you have to condemn some things and things that you grew up that you didn't realize.
Some elements of things.
Just elements of things.
It's this phenomenon that we have been undergoing, which is weird because we have this podcast and we literally are sitting here to talk excessively about fandom. However, like Amber touched on it earlier this summer where she was like feeling a little bit jealousy because I was going so insane over Doctor Who and Good Omens and Our Flag Means Death, where she doesn't have like an active fandom to do that.
Yeah.
It's like maybe the lack of fandom joy, but
Yes.
also at the same time kind of like this like apathy. Like I feel like it's apathy for me. Like
I feel that.
I'm feeling like I can't like dredge up the emotions that I know I feel or have felt or can feel when I'm watching something or at a concert or watching a trailer. Like I know that adrenaline, that fangirl rush, that excitement.
Exactly.
And
like,
I'm not feeling it all the time.
Yeah, you're listening to the news or you're watching something and you're just kind of like watching it with no energy behind it.
And I said to you, it's hard to feel the full range of your emotions when you're focusing so much on stress, anxiety, and depression.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, what it has also been stemming from for me.
I agree.
But that was like just the intro to Fangirl Fatigue as we understand it.
I was going to talk about the feeling of something that randomly pulls you out of it after like a long spell. I feel like I have been feeling it because there isn't anything current that I'm like need to keep up with or have the passion to keep up with. Maybe I also don't have the energy to do that. Like I had more room for that energy and focus when I was in school because school was structure, and so I was like, I know how to move about this, whereas like in life you're like, how do you balance the structure when you're doing it for yourself?
You're balancing everything.
Yeah.
Like, you have to pay the rent, you have to pay your bills.
You have
like
to feed
we
yourself.
I wasn't like we weren't
you have to
focusing
notice
on
when you're having a bad day.
we were not focusing on bills. Like we had everything was like at a base level, like our basic needs were being met. So like it was just more free. Like there was no stress about like a job, what job you need to get.
And it was like clear it and see if you were staying on track because you were getting to the next grade.
Yeah, and also like we had extracurriculars. So like
Yeah.
I would feel bad and I would hate going to dance practice, but then after I left dance practice, I felt a lot better.
Right. You were just like, okay,
Like
I
was
had a
getting the
long
exercise.
day. Yeah. Like I had proof of concept. I had a long day.
I had a long day, and then I twerked it out, and then went home sweating,
and
it was fine.
It was time to get on Tumblr for fangirls.
Yeah. Whereas now, stress, anxiety, depression, stress,
Yes.
anxiety, depression. It was a different story when you're a teenager.
Yes, it's a different story when you're a teenager, even from when you're in college, when you're like, you can skip class if you want. Like, it's just a different story when you are a teenager.
It's like hard to be able to tell that you actually are even passionate about something unless it's right in front of you.
Right. I've been in such a low mood the majority of the year.
Same.
That I can't even like converse with people in the level of enthusiasm with stuff that I even do like, unless you catch me on a good hour. And I'm just being honest. Like I like if you want to discuss something that you've heard me discuss on here with a passion, but we're out and about, I might be very low energy because at the moment I have fangirl fatigue because I'm speaking about it so much on here, like I've used this as my outlet.
Yeah.
So by the time I'm like out, that's not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm talking about. I have an outlet now, which is kind of what Tumblr was. Even though in high school I was talking about it constantly. It was just a different story in high school.
Yeah.
It was something that I was so passionate about, but like I can't fake fangirling. So if I'm not in the mood or I'm really like not here, it's not gonna come out. And if it does, that's just because you hit a chord.
Most of my fangirling is either one for work, literally now, like as Fangirl Central, like running this company to like produce the podcast, host the podcast, post on social media, like
keep up with content
and have an opinion about it. So it's either for work directly, like my passion project that I work for myself for, but still work, or completely online, like completely anonymously online on Twitter and Tumblr. And I can sit there and read tweets about Doctor Who, I almost said One Direction. I'm not reading tweets about One Direction.
And neither am I.
Good Omens or Our Flag Means Death. I can read tweets about them or be on Tumblr for like an hour or two straight. And it feels like I'm engaging in fandom discourse, but I'm not at all. Like I'm just reading it. And so that also drains me. So it's like either completely publicly fangirling for work or completely privately fangirling to like juice up, like to feel like I'm engaging and like I'm part of the fandom, but I'm really not. And like it's not, neither of them are a stand-in for like in-person community, like in person at a concert or in person at Comic-Con, like when we went to the Our Flag Means Death like meetup on that boat, or like just among the thralls of people in the convention center, like it's not a substitute. And like I'm lacking in-person fandom, and so I'm feeling this fatigue.
Yeah,
like
right. I feel like this is the first time I'm analyzing it, but this is definitely not the first time that it's happened. And so for this next part of the show, I do want to go through some significant moments that snapped me out of my fangirl fatigue without me even knowing it was coming, because insert whatever I'm obsessed with here dropped something while being on hiatus or wherever they were for a really long time.
Like out of the blue.
Yes. Okay. So I know we haven't talked about 5 Seconds of Summer and like our time without keeping up with them for a while, but it lined up at a time where they also weren't releasing new things. I think they were just like playing shows at festivals.
Exactly. They were like just on tour for like a year and a half straight.
And I had no idea that they were even doing that. I had unfollowed them on Instagram. I was just like, whatever. I was in college doing whatever I was doing. And then I don't know where it popped up, but their single Want You Back popped up, and I was like, oh, this is a new 5 Seconds of Summer song. They've been gone for years. This is like 2018. Or maybe it was 2017 when Want You Back came out. I can't remember. But then they released Youngblood, and I was like, good God, this is good. This is pretty good.
Yeah, and then you texted me to listen to it.
And then I said, Amanda, maybe turn your ears back to 5 Seconds of Summer.
I remember texting you and being like, Five Sauce has a new song. Have you heard it? And you were like, yeah, actually, it's like pretty good.
It's
like you should
pretty good.
You should listen to both of the new songs.
Yeah, and then the album came out. I can't remember when, but I just remember that June. It was around June. It might have been May, but it might have been June.
It was the summer for sure.
And I was listening to it on my way to and from my internship. That was like an hour commute. I was only listening to that to and from every single day. And I was like, this is euphoric. I was like, this is great. When I have an album that I can't stop listening to, I could not stop listening to this album. I was just imagining life as friends with these boys. Like, I was feeling like I was in high school again. I was like, this is something to live for.
Yeah.
Just to wake up and hear this music on the way to work. And then to get through the day and listen to it on the way home. That is life.
Like, I felt the
that
same
is
way.
living.
I felt the same way because I felt like my childhood was officially over because that's when I graduated college. Like, I literally graduated college and then they dropped an album. And I was like, oh.
It was
my
good.
life is good again.
It was
like I was
so
like,
good.
oh, 5 Seconds of Summer is my favorite band again. Like it's 2014.
We love 5 Seconds of Summer concerts. Like we would go and we got nosebleeds just to be in the stadium to hear the music because we love their music that much. And so when they dropped this, I was like, oh my God.
The last time we had been to a concert was in like 2015.
Yeah.
I think.
And then they were going on tour with this album that we loved so much, and we were like, oh, we have urgency to go somewhere again. Like this.
They did a concert on Amber's college campus at SDSU, and I lied to my job and said that I was sick. I drove down to San Diego and went to the concert and spent one night there.
We had the time of our lives. We sang. They sang beautifully. They had an amazing light show. They were in an amphitheater. They sang old songs. They sang songs from our teenagehood. They sang the songs from this album. Like it was euphoric, and it was just great. Like that year, because 5 Seconds of Summer came back, I was like, I am a fangirl.
You know what? I actually felt that too at the Black Panther premiere. Speaking of earlier, like, and
Me
that
too,
was
a little bit.
That was that year.
Yeah, it was
like,
February 2018.
When I went to the world premiere of Black Panther with the like Black Cinema Society on my campus, that's where I saw Taika. I literally sat in the same section as Taika. Like he was standing up talking to like Ava DuVernay and like all the Marvel directors, and like it was ridiculous. I remember not caring about Marvel that much since 2015. It was the same amount of distance from that's when One Direction broke up.
Yeah.
That's the last time we went to a Five Sauce concert. That's the last time I cared about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And there was just like this emptiness from like 2015 to 2018 that we've like referred to in the past. I feel like we referred to it in the very first episode of this where it was like, oh, like in college we like just kind of like distanced from fangirling.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even like put that as part of my identity. I would tell people, you know, funny thing about me is if you were to ask me what my main identity was from ages 11 to 17, it was fangirl. And I said it in the past tense. And it's crazy that like it was just like a 3-year gap, literally like college era. And like
I feel
all these things are coming back into existence. I mean, even Harry like putting out a solo album in 2017 couldn't dredge it up for me.
Yeah.
The way that like
that concert
Five Sauce and like
Right. I remember that concert where we went to the Harry concert in 2017 live on tour. And it was like, I remember being there and feeling the same amount of depression as I felt at the On the Road Again tour where Zayn was not there and I was just there to try and have a good time.
Really? That's what you felt?
I was feeling like really low. Like I was feeling so sad. He sang If I Could Fly and also The What Makes You Beautiful, his own rendition that year. And I was just like, be in the moment. It's Harry. You have decent seats. You know the words, sing the song, feel the moment. After it, when people were like, how was it? I didn't want to like be like, it was the best night of my life as like I wanted to about Take Me Home or something.
Yeah.
Like I was just kind of like.
I mean, it was fresh.
I went, like I said in the car, I went to my son's recital. That's how I felt. Like I was there to support because I know that I know that it would look bad on my One Direction resume if I didn't go to Harry's first tour.
That's crazy.
Which is also privilege.
I had like a pretty good time at that concert. I just didn't like feel.
I was sad.
I remember shaming you. Okay, this isn't lining up for me because to me it seems like you were like crazy about Harry at the time. Because do you remember this in 2017 when Harry came back? You started going through a intense Harry phase.
I remember
like,
in May when it first dropped.
When it first dropped, I mean, I was gone that summer, so I didn't see it. But then when I came back, you were like extra obsessed with him. And I was like, I shamed you. I was like, Amber, get it together. Like, you cannot be this obsessed with Harry.
Oh, wait, I do remember that. Yeah, that was when his album dropped.
I was like, you need to chill out.
But the thing is, and I was going to say this a second ago, in 2017, we have to remember that I was obsessed with Tom Holland.
Right.
It was a very different type of obsession where it was a dangerous one.
Which I thought it was for Harry. That's where I was coming from. It was like, you were acting like that with Harry.
I was acting like that with Harry in 2019, but I guess in 2017 too. I'll believe that.
I think it was that chunk of time. And I straight up was like, chill out, girl.
Because of my obsession with Tom Holland, I think that it was coming from a too much of a, I'm in LA now, this is a real possibility. That's in like a really delusionally crazy situation.
Yeah.
Which is why I have scrubbed him from my feed. Because
Tom Holland, not Harry.
Not Harry. I got so obsessed with the idea that Tom Holland was reachable.
Yeah.
And that's just crazy.
Yeah. I think that I was coming at you for Harry from a space of like fangirl fatigue. Like I was like, I have apathy towards this, so you need to calm down. Like I was projecting on you.
He did save me. Oh, that is when I started saying Harry is my light and joy because he came out with Sign of the Times at the end of freshman year where I was having a struggling time. And he said, just stop your crying, it's a sign of the times. And so that concert made me sad because I was like, I still am sad. Yeah, it's a sign of the times, but what's the sign?
That's so, okay.
Of what time?
Okay, the sign of the time when I feel like that summer, our roles were reversed. Like in the way that you were like, I'm sad and jealous that I don't have something to fangirl over right now, like you do with Our Flag Means Death, Good Omens, and and Doctor Who. I felt that summer because you had Spider-Man and Harry, and I was like, well, I don't feel that way about literally anything, and I haven't for years.
That's interesting.
Years being 2 years, but to a child.
So
a college student, that years is like every year is so long.
I think the Harry concert was the end of that rev up for me. And then I had my period of like the rest of 2017 and 2018 with nothing until that.
And it was only little blips, like
blips.
Black Panther was
Black
a
Panther
blip.
And I want to say Black Panther for me, I don't even feel like I approach that from a Marvel fan. I approach that as like
a black person.
As a black person, I was like, we are going to the theater and it's gonna be filled with black people, and this is the first superhero. This is the first black superhero in the mainstream. Like that was a moment. Like. It was also 2018 where I was on my college campus taking African American studies classes, like feeling the most empowered and the most enlightened that I had ever felt after being like so in the South.
In the sunken place.
Yeah, it was also around the time that Get Out was coming. I was really on the come up.
Get Out
had
just come out.
I had all of my like really close black friends. I was friends with like all the black people that I grew up with, but my best friends that I had sleepovers with were white.
Yeah.
And like my closest friends were all black this point in college. Like these are the people that I feel comfortable with and would tell anything to and everything.
Yeah.
And we all had similar experiences just from being black girls growing up in the years 1998 to 2017. And we went to this theater. We were doing some call and response. We were having a good time. We were screaming. We were laughing with these people. And it was community. It was community. it wasn't fangirl community, but it was community, and I am now realizing that it was fangirl community.
It was fangirl community, and I had a similar experience at the premiere. Like the section that we were in was like up in the like balcony. Like I think it was the El Capitan Theater. I think that's where they do all their premieres, Marvel. And I literally, even though I was going to the premiere, I was like I didn't
like just
even,
like
I didn't have it. I didn't have any
realize how
excitement.
cool it was. Right? Yeah.
Like
it sounds cool, but like you're just kind of going on autopilot.
I was like, that's so cool.
And that sucks.
Like I got dressed up and like I was thrilled to see Michael B. Jordan that up close. Like he is so hot, literally smoking hot. Saw Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace.
Oh, no.
And then like all Taika, like all these people, and so I was getting excited, but it was like at that point also we had met so many celebrities that I was like not that excited again.
Mm-hmm.
Amber. Amber's crying. Let it out.
That's crazy. That's also crazy. That's not fair at all. Oh no. Okay. Heavens. I really wasn't thinking about it. Okay.
And see, there's things that can trigger emotions.
Right.
Like
did that came out of nowhere.
It was an exciting night, but I just wasn't feeling excited. But we got there and then the movie started and everyone's responses, like there were mostly black people in that theater, which I wasn't anticipating.
Yeah.
And everybody was responding. Like everyone was laughing at all the black jokes. Everyone was
they were just
say
things,
that. Like
it was
people
like the night where like people like they were lines like colonizer, like that struck all the black people very viscerally now we can go back in it if it was like in a Hulu series, be like, okay, like upgrade a little bit.
Yeah.
But then that was like one of the first things.
And it wasn't a Marvel movie. It was a huge, it was a mainstream Marvel studio action movie. For it to be at the premiere and all the black people in the audience in the industry cackling at that line, like, and lines like that,
and also
like,
and like feeling the strength of like both sides, like
yes.
Killmonger. People were like, we see where he goddamn is fucking coming from.
Yes, because when he would make a point, we would all be like,
He said, yeah. What did he say? He said, I'd rather be in the bottom of the ocean with my ancestors, than like this, And that is
in chains.
Too fucking real, and that's what I mean. That's what I mean earlier, like that and a lot of other things. But like I think even like when I was talking about Beyonce with Amber on the last episode, what are white people getting from this, or what are they hearing? Like legitimately, is this all fantasy to you, or is this just a song to you? Did you hear that?
I don't think people hear it because we have another Hunger Games movie in theaters while all this shit is going on in Palestine and Israel, and people don't understand that
President Snow, or whatever, Coriolanus,
Just call him Snow. Just call him Snow, because Snow is a fascist.
Snow is a fascist,
and it's the making of a fascist. But like all those movies and all these movies, like the Empire versus the rebels, and like Katniss versus the Capitol, like they can put themselves in those people's places when they're watching a dystopia, but they cannot put themselves in the spaces of the oppressed when it's actually happening, when genocide is actually happening in real life.
I saw a tweet that it said like liberals will say that civil war was horrible and that genocide was horrible, but while it's actually happening, they won't say a thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Like they will condemn.
I do not support the idea of that. But while it's happening, it's like
I saw that tweet. They'll condemn genocide in the past and they'll support civil rights movements in the past, but they will not condemn genocides in the present, and they will not support civil rights movements in the present. Because if there's anything about fascist movements, it's that most people will support them while they're happening because there's so much denial that they're happening.
Yes.
In the present.
Yes.
So clearly people will watch Black Panther and not know what's going on. It is just a fantasy to them. Because the Hunger Games is also just a fantasy.
Yeah.
That's not based on real life.
How could it be?
And that was a joke, in case anyone can't tell that I was being sarcastic.
Right.
But like, yeah, Black Panther did rev me up for the time being. Five Sauce did rev me up for the time being, but I feel like it didn't hold. Like every time, it's like a drug. Yeah. Fangirling is like a drug. Like it actually is, because it releases endorphins
The
when you're
trip
like when you're like
lasts 12 hours.
so excited, like when you're so excited in the theater, or when you're so excited for the artist to come out, or so excited to watch a trailer. Like moving on to 2019, like when the Jonas Brothers announced that they were coming back and that they were having a single drop the next day with a music video, my world stopped. Like,
oh my God.
It was as if I had been like floating along a lazy river and someone had just put a tidal wave through me.
Okay, I need to explain this a little bit, because can I just paint a picture? At that point, I was living with 6 girls, and two of them were also One Direction fans. So 3 of the 6 people I was living with were closeted Directioners. And we were like, we have our own apartment. Let's watch One Direction shit and scream about it, and let's listen to the songs whenever we want to. And so the other 3 were just kind of like, those girls are different than the first 2 years we met them. They're talking about these boys a little bit more than the first 2 years they met them. And it was like, whatever. And I remember I kept on saying to like this one roommate in particular, I was like, you don't understand. Like, if you knew me back then, this is nothing. Me listening to them and singing every riff is actually nothing. And I was also the same for the Jonas Brothers when I was 10.
Right. Just so I can, just so you
just
can know.
For a backstory, like if you want to get to know me after we've, like, since we're living together now, like this is
by the way,
I used to be crazy. I used to be a crazy fangirl, and
I would mention that too in my college. Just like
right,
just sprinkle,
very
it,
lightly,
just sprinkle.
Just very lightly.
Anybody mention what's the oldest Jonas Brothers name? Joe, Kevin.
It's Kevin.
It's Kevin, and then Joe, and then Nick.
Yeah, and like we know their birthdays and their middle names.
Oh yeah, and actually Joe's birthday is August 15th,
and Kevin's first name is Paul.
And he's a junior, just so you know.
Yeah.
And there's a fourth one. There's a fourth one. There's Frankie.
He went to Belmont University.
And we would just sprinkle.
Just like, I know things.
Just I know this and you don't know that I know
And so
that.
I remember when, I feel like she was the one who was like, or no, she couldn't have been the one. I probably saw it, and then she was like, did you see that they reactivated their Instagram? Like annoying like that.
Oh my God.
And so I was like, yeah, I did, but that it doesn't mean, it couldn't possibly mean anything, you know? Because they were brothers and they broke up because they were having a family feud. So it just couldn't possibly mean anything.
No.
And
don't
look at me like a zoo animal about how I'm about to react to this. And then they dropped a photo, and then I was like, everybody be quiet for a second, because we don't know the conditions and we don't know what's about to happen.
Don't listen to the fake news.
This could just be,
we don't know.
It could be hacked. We don't know. And then they dropped Sucker, and I was like,
the music video and the song on the same day.
It's 2019 and the Jonas Brothers are back. The Jonas Brothers are back, and it's 2019, and they left us in 2012, kind of 2013, not sure the exact date. But that is insane. And I was like,
red alert.
It was actually red alert. Mother and Amanda and I in the group chat, we were like, red alert. Red alert, the Jonas Brothers are back. Red alert. Do you see that the Jonas Brothers are back? And what does this mean? The Jonas Brothers are back.
My head was light.
The timeline has shifted.
Like I found out that the Jonas Brothers were getting back together, listened to Sucker and watched the music video, and saw them perform Sucker for the first time live on James Corden all in the same week.
All in the same week.
In the same week. Amber got us tickets to James Corden to see the Jonas Brothers on James Corden.
I just
live
applied
taping.
just to see if it would work. They're free, and I was like, maybe we'll get them. I got 4 tickets for me, Tiana, Capri, and Amanda, and we said, we're going.
It was the closest we'd ever been to the Jonas Brothers. We had not seen them.
We skipped class. We skipped work. We skipped everything.
I was supposed to start a job the day that happened, and I lied and said, I didn't know I was supposed to start today. Can I start tomorrow?
And that's fair, because this is the Jonas Brothers, and they have not been back since we were children, and we didn't know how to act.
I'm not gonna
and so
miss
what
that.
you're gonna get is us not knowing how to fucking act. We're about to release all responsibilities and go see the Jonas Brothers perform their first single in years live 3 times in a row, right in front of our faces. And you know what? I touched all of them on the shoulder.
All of them on the shoulder. Well, as they exited, have never been that close to them in our lives.
They were
like, we hadn't seen them in person or in concert in 10 years.
In 10
it had
years.
been since 2009.
Yes, the Lines, Vines, and Trying
they
Times
were
tour.
fucking 10 years younger. And I was having flashes of them as teenagers while watching them perform. Like, I was like, that cannot be Joe, Nick, and Kevin Jonas
That
in
can't
front
be
of
Joe.
my...
You have to understand that Joe Jonas was betrothed to me at age 10 with his dark eyebrows, his dark eyelashes, his hair, his dark leather jacket. And now he's in front of me as a grown adult and a college student.
And then, like 2 weeks later, tickets for them coming to the Hollywood Bowl went on sale. And
we got them. And we got them, and we went to this concert, and they performed a medley of all of their old songs.
And all that stuff, like the songs dropping, the albums dropping, their fucking documentary dropping, all of this. It was still a low level of fangirling for me. Like it was like it was waking up a beast.
Yeah.
It was like the beast was
revving.
Revving. Like it was like the dragon, if it had been sleeping for the last 5 or so years, now it was like kind of like getting out of REM sleep. Can I hear something? And then the concert happened. It was awake. The beast was awake. Like my fangirl
screaming
beast.
till you had a headache.
My fangirl beast has been awake since 2019 because the Jonas Brothers came back.
I have to agree. Like the concert, the documentary, the healing of the healing that documentary brought with them being like, yeah, we had familial problems. When it was Nick's fault.
And we
always
all
went to therapy. We always knew Nick
knew.
is conceited and it's fine. We are back together and we're gonna handle him and his problems. We are brothers.
And we went to that concert with them unified and looking hot as ever, singing the songs that we had grown up with, had not seen them for 10 years. And then they came to the stage close to us. And that's when I'm not kidding, like it wasn't a hallucination. I saw them as teenagers singing Love Bug. I saw them as teenagers singing Love Bug.
And then they brought out Big Rob. And then they brought out Big Rob. And we were with our mother. We haven't been to a concert with our mother since the Jonas Brothers.
Probably. And now we've seen the Jonas Brothers since they've gotten back 3 times, and she's been with us every time. Now, I'm glad we're having this conversation because I have been like, what the fuck is going on with me with my fangirl fatigue? Like, I literally can't dredge up the emotion to fangirl. Like, I can't even like...
I can't believe we're having this conversation.
Talk about like Doctor Who in a really excited manner unless like I've just watched the episode. Like when I was watching the episode and I spontaneously burst into tears, I was like, I felt so joyful. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it's affecting me like this. And like, I can't believe how happy I am to see David Tennant running around as a doctor. I'm like, that's David Tennant. God. He's like almost 50 years old and he's running around as a doctor. I was like,
I'm my age and he's his age and we've grown and he's doing it again.
David Tennant is the doctor.
Real life deja vu, like fangirl deja vu.
Like that's the current doctor. Like that's the current doctor.
Yeah.
The current doctor is David Tennant and the current companion is Catherine Tate.
It really,
because of having this conversation now, it's like it's all sinking in with me. It's like
come back.
These emotions,
it's revived.
These emotions are not accessible to me in my day to day because Amber said that she's been very low this year. I've been the most depressed I've ever been this year. Like it's been a very tough year, and I can't believe we launched a podcast this
Neither
year.
can I. I don't know what we've been doing.
But like it's been a struggle bus. And the only thing getting us through is things like the Avatar: The Last Airbender trailer dropping.
That shit, I was like, wait, this might be the thing that revives me. But before we get into that, I'd want to talk about how ironic it is that the Jonas Brothers, this is the first day that we brought this to the studio. And I feel like also having them right there.
They look so scary.
As themselves, they do look scary.
There's a Jonas Brothers blanket behind me, and it really looks scary.
Oh yeah. I was like, everyone can see it. We've got it in frame, but
this is a podcast.
What I want to say is Joe is staring at me through his glasses and his stupid half smile, and thank you for being here, Joe.
It is ironic. You can watch the video. We posted a video of us reacting to the Avatar: The Last Airbender trailer, and we just burst into tears. Like I burst into tears as soon as the music started. And seeing Aang, like, because Aang's not the first thing you see in the trailer, but seeing Aang, and then the music starts, and it's the same music.
I'm sorry, seeing Momo,
and then
seeing Omashu,
Appa, like, but
seeing how accurate it looks, the music.
And how colorful it is too, because they'd be doing. Marvel is guilty of it. They wash it out. That Cowboy
Little
Bebop,
Mermaid,
Little Mermaid, drab. The Cowboy Bebop adaptation,
Into
drab.
the Woods. Why are you so dark? We can't see.
The source material is very colorful. So if they had made Avatar like the movie adaptation, because the movie adaptation of The Last Airbender is drab as fuck. There's so much wrong with it. But the colors, I'm like, fire, there's color in there. There's color in the fire. There's color in the water. There's color in the earth. Like, give me some color.
Give us some color.
You don't know what that trailer did? Color. Come to February 22nd, 2024. I'm sat.
That is something you may be able to look forward to. I think that'll be one of the first times that you hear Amanda and I watching a revival of a mutual fandom live. Like, we will be doing recaps on that. That is something that we are both equally obsessed with. Yes, we did a recap of Our Flags Means Death, but I watched that because I knew we needed to. Happy I did, obviously. But even like, this is the first time that we have this mutual fandom that we both grew up with, and it has a visceral reaction from both of us.
And it's current. Like, it's something that's happening currently.
So that should be exciting.
I want to do a rewatch of the series and then do an Avatar episode.
Is that what we should focus on in January?
We should rewatch. I mean, it would only take us 3 days.
Exactly.
But we should rewatch the series and then do an Avatar episode, or we could break it up if we have too much to say, leading up to the release.
Yeah.
Like, I think we should release it before the release and then be like, and then now we're doing the live action.
Yeah.
Episodes.
And now
this is a teaser for all of you. We're going to be talking about Avatar finally.
Yeah.
I wanted to do a live Avatar variety show, but one, we were burnt out, and two, like, I couldn't come up with a concept for it. But that's like,
I think we could definitely come up with a concept for it now when we're not burnt out.
When we're like thinking about fandoms, for me, the first that I think of, top fandoms that I think of are One Direction, Disney Channel, Twilight, and Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like, they're just such cultural phenomenons that we
will be creating space in our heads to dedicate ourselves to making live events and shows again, because that is something we like to do. We've just been very tired and on our last leg,
and don't have the money to produce the types of events that we would like to.
Right. But please subscribe to the Patreon and donate if you love us.
It's easier for me, like, just spontaneously picking up a camera and like talking my thoughts about whatever I'm watching and the moment. It's easier for me to do that rather than like get on this mic and then like have to performatively fangirl. Like,
exactly. There is another moment of revival that I wanted to discuss. We already discussed Harry, but it's Harry again. It's Harry in 2019, also after the Jonas Brothers, because while the Jonas Brothers revived one thing, you know, you can always have more help from Harry Styles.
Yeah. Well, I feel like because you were revived, it fueled.
I feel like, because it's hard for me to remember now, but like, I feel like what happened was the Jonas Brothers came back, and then Harry came back.
He came out with another second album.
Not mistaken, Justin Bieber came back with an album that I actually listened to, because I didn't listen to all of Justin's albums. My favorites are the first two.
Yeah. But Fine Line had like just come out.
So what happened was Harry was silent, hadn't thought about him once all 2 years since the live on tour. I was like, okay, we're done with that. He went silent. I was like, whatever, we don't know where he is. And then suddenly it was like, Harry has a new music video out. And I was like, The people around me don't know what's about to happen. Because even when I did have my revival of Harry with his self-titled, it was through the summer, so I still wasn't talking to friends.
Yeah.
So then when he came out with Lights Up, it was in October, and I was like, I've been hit by a drop, and you guys don't know what happens when One Direction surprises me.
And it was the same month of the Jonas Brothers concert.
It was the same month of the Jonas Brothers concert. I was only living with Emma, so I was like kind of self-isolated, where I was like able to scream and lose my mind in my living room. And so that's what I did. And then I was like, you know what? He's here to get me through senior year. And that's what he did. And then he said, I have a Fine Line listening party, which was just a concert where he sang every song front and back from that album. And I was like, Amanda, we have to go. But oh no, I have a final.
It was one night only.
One night only. Oh no, I have a final on that day. And then I said to my professor, and it was like an oral presentation, so you had to be there. And I was like, listen, I'm going to have to go home early. Is there any way we can work something out? He's like, because you have to go home and I want to honor that, I will work it with you. If I didn't say I had to go home, he would have been like, no, show up. So I said I have to go home. I wasn't lying. I went home the very next day, one. And two, I did fucking go home, because I went the goddamn home. I was in that stadium, and what the sadness I felt at Live on Tour in 2017, I didn't feel an ounce of it in 2019 at the Fine Line listening party for one night only, because I was there. I saw him in his white pants and his pink shirt, and I was listening so hard to the music that he created and dropped for us. I listened to She, which was beautiful. I listened to Golden. That's what he opened up with. And then he brought Stevie Nicks out on stage and sang a Christmas song, and then I went home to Memphis the very next day, and it was all something that was very euphoric. It was something that I very much needed. I needed to go home, and I did.
Yeah.
And Harry brought me there.
And you were like, I don't know, I have a final. And I said, I remember because you hesitated a little bit, and I was like, who gives a fuck?
I'm getting the tickets.
What
That's what you said.
I said, I'm getting the tickets.
And then you got the tickets while I was in an exam, a completely different class, but you got the tickets when they were on sale. I was in an exam, and you said, I got them.
2 things we're serious about: concert tickets and Comic-Con badges.
Yeah.
It's like, we don't care if we're broke as hell. We'll get that.
And that reminds me, I was manic about Harry in 2017 because he had like 3 opportunities for me to get tickets, and I didn't get them until the 3rd. And I was like, he only had so many options because he wanted me, Amber Miller, to get a ticket. And thank you, Harry, I did. Like, I was like, I didn't get it this time. He's going to keep on doing it until I get a ticket. And he did.
The fangirl fatigue has been so bad that I forgot that Avatar: The Last Airbender was my favorite show until I saw that trailer.
The fangirl fatigue has been so bad that I didn't know I could talk this fast anymore about what I previously liked. Like, I just have been so low. Like, even last night, y'all, I was like, Amanda, I don't even know if we can do this episode. I don't have it in me. I don't. But here it is.
It's the end of the year. It's our second to last episode of the year. And I think that
this is Fangirl Central, where we get fangirl fatigue.
Yeah, we're being real about how we're actually feeling. And so we are recording this in November, taking the entire month of December off of recording to rest and relax and restore. And we'll be back better than ever in the new year.
It'll be so fun.
But you know, we have one last episode after this.
Yeah,
so,
and that'll be a fun one.
And it'll be a fun one.
Yeah.
Follow us everywhere at fangirl.central on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Follow our Patreon, patreon.com/fangirlcentral, where we're going to be giving you guys a lot more content, extra content, bonus podcast episodes. Please consider donating. Even just $5 a month helps us a lot. We also have an exclusive Discord if you want to hop on there and scream with us. And yeah, who knows what we'll have. We just finished a rewatch of every single Barbie animated movie, so through 2008. So if that's a hint for what's to come, then
just keep your eye out if you like Barbie.
Keep an eye out.
Keep an eye out.
And as always,
keep it chaotic. Yeah.